parts that you have to think about. But man, you guys are a really, really smart crew. Yeah. And I saw you guys were helping each other, so that's really awesome too. Where's he at? There you are. So now, we're gonna go. Come on, Stud! That's a new nickname now. You know that guy. Johnny Stud. Stud right here. So we have two different types of attacks, right? Controlled and speed attacks. For this next part of the drill, it's up to you on how you want to get to the arm lock position. Whether you would like to practice the first two I showed you, or you have any other ways of setting up the arm lock, whether it's like an arm drag, going to the back, climbing the body, you get to this position, now you're looking to go elbow deep. Any way you'd like to get to the arm lock position is up to you, okay? Cool. But I want us to end up in this position. I'm hugging the leg, and I'm hugging the arms elbow deep. And I have one leg over the head, and I have one leg over the back. This is kind of our workspace for the next part of the drill, this next sequence, okay? Because my opponent's a what? Stud. He's now going to give me a little bit of resistance. Because in a live situation or a live match, you really think John's going to just let me arm bar him here? No, he's going to do his best to defend. So, the first common reaction that happens, and you may have experienced it before, is they're going to stack you from their knees. So they're on their knees, they're holding their arms together because they don't want me to extend the arm and break it. And he's just going to bring his head over my head, like this. And now you can see it's kind of uncomfortable for me, and I don't like it. So, now my arm is hugging elbow deep, and I'm going to wedge it on my thigh or hold it up close to my shoulder. Depending on your opponent, I've found that people who are stronger with keeping their hands connected, I will hug elbow deep and wedge on my thigh. It gives me a little bit of like prime leverage to stay connected to his arms. If I feel his arms are loose and I go into off balancing him and his arms are extending kind of like John has them now, he's not being a stud right now. I'm just kidding. I will hug up towards my shoulder because as I extend him away, his arms will extend and I'll have a more of an opportunity to break it in transition. Okay? So he brings his head over mine. Boom. I'm going to hug elbow deep, wedge it on my thigh. I'm hugging elbow deep on the leg, and I'm keeping my head close. If I can't keep my head close, I'm going to keep his knee close. One or the other. Now some of you got to this position and you noticed that your opponent fell off balance. And that's totally natural if your partner on top isn't holding their base. Okay? So the first reaction is on his knees, he's bringing his head over my head. My legs now have two different jobs. One, does anyone remember what the leg over the head is for? To bring his head down and away from me. So I have some breathing room, and I'm not being crushed. It's even stuck. My second leg, not only is it to keep my hips up and connected to him at all times, I can also use it to push and leg press into him. So, one thing to keep in mind for this first off balance, wherever the bottoms of my feet are pointing is where my legs will extend and where the direction of force will be guided or directed as I extend my legs. So right now, if you look at his body, his intention is to put weight over my head, right? So, with his weight going over my head, both of his knees in the mat, he's kind of like a tabletop, right? He has two knees on the mat on this side, and he has the intention of putting force into the ground on this side. But if you think about a table, it needs 4 points of contact to the floor to be completely stable. Does anyone know where he doesn't have a point? Over here. Exactly. Normally, if I'm new to jiu-jitsu, I won't even be thinking about that space. But right now, because it's a seminar, I want you guys to think about that space. He's trying to stack me on his knees. I bring his head down and away from me in that direction. If I'm staying connected tight with sufficient connection, and I start to point my feet just in that direction, look, his knee's off the mat. He's already off balance. I'm talking normally, I'm not using any strength. I can elevate his leg. He made an adjustment. He's completely off balance. He's out of alignment. If his hands were to separate for a desperate attempt to stay on top, which is a common reaction from really less experienced people, you can always break the arm in transition. But he's alert. He's going to hold his arms and he's going to concede the sweep. So now all I have to do, while elevating the leg, extending away his head, I'm going to use this secondary leg to just press him down. His head hits the ground, and I'm going to follow him up. Right there, he extended his arms halfway through. He wasn't really being a stud, so we just arm there. But let's go again. Sorry, John. So I'm here, get up to the arm lock position, extending my leg to the shoulder pivot, boom, he goes to stack, head over my head, okay? I'm gonna keep his head down and away from me, I'm elevating his leg, and I'm extending my secondary leg. As I'm wedging into my thigh, that's keeping my torso connected to his arm, so as he falls, I come up into the arm lock position. Okay? Again, however you'd like to get to this arm lock position is up to you. He stacks me. Head over my head, he's on his knees. I keep his head down and away from me. I lift his leg and I extend my secondary leg, keeping connection with my arm wedging into my thigh, chest force to the elbow. Okay? Any questions? You want to see it again?
Yeah.
Over time?
You have a question over here.
Yeah.
When you're saying you're using your thigh to fry or hold on to
Personally, I like to go to my pocket, my hip. There's a little like crook in there on my hip that I feel like if I put the back of my, like the blade of my hand on it and I extend it, you can see the space between my arm as I extend it. It's kind of rotating and extending. It's closing that space, keeping a nice tight wedge on his arm. And it's separate from anything I'm doing with the rest of my body because it's right on like the axis of my hip. So here, boom, across, in the arm lock position.